I'm Bryce Drogosh, and I'm responsible for our technology partnerships here at Singlewire. And then I also have one of our senior territory managers online with me that will handle a demo portion that will show you Tom Hewitt. Tom is based out of the Dallas area and has TOLA as a region, in case you got opportunities in that space. As Sean had mentioned, he's been working with us for quite some years now, and it's really helped us with some of our designs where we have a product like Allworks or something in there, and it's helped us connect Informacast to some schools and to some enterprises that have that as their phone system to be able to integrate with Singlewire. So today, as an agenda, what I really wanted to do is kind of cover who we are, in case many of you don't know who we are, and what is the product, Informacast, and also I'll cover visitorware, do a quick demo, and then do any kind of wrap up or next questions. So who is Singlewire Software? Singlewire Software is the name of the company. We've been around almost 20 years, and that becomes important, I think, because there's a lot of products in our space that have come out in the last couple of years, and it's pretty easy to have a mass notification platform, but it's more difficult to have one that is seasoned and solid and scalable and has resiliency built in and things like that, so that when you really want to have a system that's working for you for critical notifications, you have confidence that what you're putting in is tried, true, and tested. We have over 170 employees. Probably about 140 of those are engineers. We develop mass notification, critical event management, and paging solutions, and as well as acquired a visitor management company. We started our development by developing some software that was utilized actually by Cisco in Cisco Call Manager. When Cisco Call Manager first came out, it did not have a paging platform. So they utilized our system and built it into Call Manager. So basic paging on a Cisco platform today is still Informacast. And from there, it kind of grew into not only do I want to page phone to phone, but I want to page phones to overheads. I want to do bell schedules. I want to do weather alerts. I want to do all these other types of workflows where it's critical that you get notifications out to everybody and get it out in under a second in as many ways as possible. We've grown to over 7,000 plus organizations that utilize our product. And then one of the ones I'll cover later is we acquired a company called visitorware with an acquisition back in 2022. So what is Informacast? So Singlewire Software is the name of the company. The name of our product is Informacast. And what the Informacast is a hybrid SaaS solution that is a platform that resides in the middle and enables a school or a hospital or a retail shop to be able to connect all the types of devices that they currently own. So think about IP speakers, desk phones, mobile devices, overhead paging, digital signage, door lock mechanisms, desktop computers, anything, and be able to include those in a workflow for notifying someone of a situation or even just a daily announcement. And so this kind of showing this graphic is what we do is we're a platform in the middle that's going to let you or let your customer make a workflow that say when someone presses 999, it sends out a notification to all of these devices, but it may also want to lock the doors. It may also want to send it out to a mobile device. It may want to send it to the PSAP if you're trying to do Alyssa's Law and things like that. So what we've done is we've developed a system that can connect all these devices to help eliminate some of the expensive of replacing hardware as you go forward, right? And then over time, not only did we do Cisco, but we started adding a lot of the UCaaS vendors like Zoom and RingCentral and Teams and 8x8. And then with CTD's help, Allworks, and we've done a Mitel, and we've done a NetSapiens, etc., because we can integrate with all those. And we get asked those type of questions all the time. Right? So where would you find Informacast? So we a lot of times are looked at as just being a K-12, but that's only about a quarter of our business. We have large deployments in healthcare, manufacturing, general business, higher education, a lot in state and local governments, etc. And so we hit almost all. The other thing is where you're going to find us are in larger deployments, 250 and above. Because if you think about it, what we're doing is we're providing a mechanism to be able to take audio and video and send out a notification across the facility that's going to help keep people safe and aware. And if you're in a little small building where you maybe got 10 people, you're probably just going to stand up and say, hey, there's a tornado, or hey, someone's coming into the door, etc. You're not really going to need the mass notification, but in the large deployments, the large facilities, you'll need that kind of capability to keep people safe and aware. So if you look at Singlewire software, we have two main products, Informacast and Visitor Aware. Informacast is our product that does the detections, notifications, and the management. So by detection, so being able to dial a pattern, a digital pattern, to launch a page, integrating with an IoT sensor device, like say a vape detector, smoke detector, a video system that's spotting a gun with its AI. All these different types of things are ways that we detect a trigger. Once something is detected in our software, you have configured what we call scenarios to be able to take a pre-recorded, a live, or an ad hoc audio message and send it out to everything. And then also include a video or an image that's going to go out to these devices as well. And you craft that. The nice thing about that is that you craft multiple streams. So you may have, let's say in a school, a panic button on the teacher's desk. They hit it. I may want to send one type of announcement to the masses to get safe. There's someone's here. I may want to send a different message to the SRO officers. I may want to send a different message over to the police department, etc. Right? So you have the capability to send out these notifications to everybody and send out multiple. The other thing you have the capability to do when you send a notification out is have the capability to have confirmations. I got the message, I'm safe. Or, hey, I got the message, I need help. And be able to mitigate and manage those situations as they come across. Also, think about having the ability that, say, someone in room 101 pressed the button. I want that real-time information to go out in a notification so that the people that are going to respond are going to know where to go to and where was this button pressed. So these are all the kind of things that Informacast does. Visitor Aware is got several different modules to it, but Visitor Aware started because we had a lot of folks, hospitals, schools, even some retail shops. They wanted visitor and volunteer management. So think about coming to a door, scanning in your license. If your state allows it, we can do facial recognition. Compare those results to the federal databases that are out there for, say, sexual offenders or felons, or even a local writ that say you're going through a divorce and the judge says you're not allowed to see your kids for 2 months, but you've been picking up your kid at the school every week for the past 2 years. Well, you're not allowed to do that. So they'll be able to flag those kind of things, right? The other neat thing that this does is it's integrated with Informacast. Let's say I've got someone at the front desk that's trying to get in, not supposed to get in. Well, that person at that front desk more than likely doesn't want to deal with that. So what it'll do is it'll also send that as a detection to Informacast. Informacast will alert the SRO or whoever's supposed to handle this to come to that front desk and take care of this issue and stand the person aside. The other thing it does is, let's say I've let you in the building. Now I can have you as a participant in my notification targets so that if a tornado happens and you're a visitor, I now have a method of getting you the same type of helpful information to get safe and where to get safe at as you do if you're an employee. So visitor and volunteer management integrated with Informacast has been very big for us. You probably have heard of Raptor. That's probably our biggest competitor in that space. And then we also have other modules like student management, drill manager, bus manager. These are other modules that are really targeted at schools where they've asked us to help with the Love Me protocols, right? Follow the Love Me protocols of reunification after an incident has happened, right? Or rostering or taking roll, all these types of things that we can do to help mitigate and help respond to a critical situation. A few years back, one of the biggest things that a lot of our clients had asked us for was duress. Help me in times of duress. So, what do you need in a time of duress? You need to have a way to ask for help. And with the Singlewire solution, you have as many ways as possible to do that. So you have all types of panic buttons. You can have wearables. Think about a Contact IO wearable badge or a Centegix badge that you can push a button and ask for help. We include a mobile app so that if you've got an Android or an iPhone, you can click on a button and ask for help. You can have keyboard shortcuts. You can have apps that are on the laptop. You can have physical panic buttons that are mounted, right? You can have IoT devices that can kick off a sensor, right? So when we put out our duress solution, what we want to do is give the flexibility to the customer to be able to have as many ways as possible to ask for that help and not just one. So this is kind of a really busy slide, if you will, but it I think does one of the best jobs of explaining what we do. We're Informacast is in the cloud in the middle here. Everything on the left are just all the ways our customers have asked us to trigger an event. So we have the capability to use desk phones. We have the capability to use our own app. We have capability for panic buttons. And I just went through the various types of those. We've got web consoles. We've got integration with products like Microsoft Teams. And we also got integration with a lot of different wearable devices that have become really big lately, especially with Alyssa's Law. But we've also got automated triggering capability. Product itself includes weather alerts. So you draw a geofence around a building. Whenever the National Weather Services puts out an alert in that space, a tornado, high winds, fire, earthquake, whatever, we get that. We send out the notification. We also have a lot of folks that want to enhance their fire safety. So when you pull a fire alarm, you know what things go off, but they may want to have additional information going to a set of people that this fire alarm was pulled in this room at this time by this person. We need to get there and get help. We also find a lot of folks with the different IoT devices. Think about a manufacturing floor with a chemical spill that's shutting down a line. Well, we want to sense that. We want to shut that line down as quick as possible. We want to get information out to the people in the line of what they should be doing, right? So those are all the types of ways that you can trigger. And the reason we can do this is we've got a lot of different APIs, RESTful APIs, CAP Exchange, RSS feed, emails, SIP, machine-to-machine capabilities to bring these triggers into our software and make available the ability to hit all of these targets on the right. On top of the targets on the right, most of our competitors, like a Rave and an Everbridge, they'll do mobile only. We do mobile, so we'll do a push notification, an SMS, a text, a phone call, an email. If you've got federal capability for iPause, we can do iPause. All these kind of things we do. But now we also give you the capability to target any of the on-premise type capabilities. So think about sending that audio over the IP speaker on the desk phone, hitting digital signage, doing pop-ups on laptops and computers, right? Hitting two-way radios. If you got blue light poles, you're a big university and you got light poles, you want those things to be able to blink and go off and give people the notification that there's something going on and they need to be aware, right? And then we also work with a lot of different collaboration tools like Microsoft Teams and WebEx Teams and Zoom. We have an embedded conference bridge. One of those things you want to do in a scenario may be get these 5 people on a conference call to talk about this incident right now. So this kind of shows you what we're doing from a standpoint of being able to take any trigger and target anything that you either own or are adding to the solution so that you can get the emergency notifications, critical notifications, daily notifications out at any time. One of the other big things that we find with our customers is that they'll talk about wanting to put in a critical notification system, but they may not have a critical event for a year. And then when it happens, they don't know if it's working if they didn't test it. When you're combining your day-to-day activities like paging, think about paging. What is it? It's a trigger is dial 222, take the voice off my handset and put it on all these speakers, right? It's being tested and run every day so that they know that when a critical situation happens, this thing is working. We know that if a speaker over here was out during the day of the announcement, we're getting it fixed so that when there's a critical announcement, that thing's working. And then the other thing is people are used to using the system. So you don't have to, from an operational perspective, retrain them, right? So that's kind of what we do is an any to any triggering mechanism and targeting so that we can get these notifications out in under a second and get them out to as many people in as many ways as possible. So what we've done over the years is, you can see this is kind of a really busy slide as well, but it's our ecosystem. We've got all types of panic buttons and speakers and door lock mechanisms, digital signage that are all already integrated. Algo is one of our bigger partners. We get 8410s all over the place in schools where they like sending not only the audio, but send a graphic to that screen and be able to get people's attention that way. But you can see we have a breadth of devices that are already known to work. And what that means for your customer is we've all been at customers and they may not have the budget to replace all of their existing speakers, but they want to go that direction. So you have a way to bring in what they currently have, augment it with the net new as they grow to all the net new, right? Other things that we've seen happening recently are integrations with other types of devices, not just audio. Like I mentioned, the wearable badges, things like Centegix and Contact.io. To address Alyssa's Law, we got things like CRG that does mapping for schools. We've got Rhombus, which is video. We have Zero Eyes, which is a weapon detection knock. We have Rapid Deploy, which are in the 911 centers around the country that are able to address a situation. And of course, mentioned before, we got Algo and other devices. So what we're seeing is that people are adding to what they currently were using us for in paging, but adding all these additional type of capabilities that are going to extend what they're doing in a security and a safety environment. I know Sean had mentioned you guys install a lot of camera technology. We're getting a lot of requests these days to incorporate AI to those videos that they're getting from those cameras to find mulling, to find a fight, to find a weapon, to find a wet spot on the floor, etc. So you think about all the things that can be integrated with this that you can add that notifications to be able to mitigate that situation and save time, dollars, and lives, right? So where do we start? We mostly have the past year have been a bell scheduling and a PA system as people have gone to UCAS. But we've now entered into providing panic buttons for active shooters. We've provided capabilities for like Alyssa's Law to extend 911 alerts. If you think about it today, if you dial 911, there's a flow. But what if you hit a panic button? That's not a 911 call. That's an IP notification. Well, the PSAP has got to be able to get that information, get who pressed the button, where they're at, how do I respond, all that kind of thing. So we've extended that 911 reach by adding panic buttons to the PSAP to be able to meet things like Alyssa's Law, Ray Baum's Act, Carey's Law, et cetera, that are coming out. If you don't know what Alyssa's Law is, just quickly, Alyssa's Law has been adopted by 6 different states right now. There are 10 more coming probably in the next few months. And then it's also on the federal floor. And what Alyssa's Law does is it says that every K through 12 classroom has got to have a panic alert technology. Now, every state has written the law a little different. but typically that's what it is. Give me a panic button in every classroom, and the panic button has got to be able to go and get help as soon as possible. Help other, local SRO officers, the PSAP, the police department, the SWAT team, whatever you need when you press that button, and we're able to deliver that. So I say crawl, walk, run, because mostly folks are putting us in because they need to upgrade their paging or and PA systems, or maybe adding bell schedules. Then they get used to using it, and all of a sudden they start, hey, weather alerts. What do I got to pay to do that? No, it's embedded in the system. You just need to configure it. Now you have a weather alert mechanism. We had a school in Mississippi where the guy that was running this saw the weather alert, end up setting it up, and they got a tornado that Monday, and it worked. Saved lives. He got called into the super's office and said, "Who said you could spend the money on this?" And he said, "I didn't. I just enabled it. We already own it." And got accolades that, hey, you saved some lives here. So crawl, walk, run, anything. If you think about any type of situation where there's a way to take in a triggering event where you want to send out mass notifications, critical notifications in a timely manner, is a workflow that we can help deliver. So we find ourselves, like I said earlier, find ourselves a lot providing overhead paging to PCs, SMS, phone calls, but we also are starting to find people wanting to have this incorporated into horn speakers and strobes and digital signage and mobile apps and social media, etc. And so this is a single tool that's able to give you the reach to all of this. And it's also resilient, backed up, etc. It's not something that was just done by a couple of kids in a room over a weekend. Other situations that we find in life safety, active shooters, being able to support that. Obviously, the severe weather, anything that could be threatening. We're seeing a lot of this in hospitals where you've got aggressive patients ever since COVID for whatever reason, and having the ability to have a doctor or a nurse press a button and get some immediate help when this is happening has become very important and something that we've really been able to do. So we also see that it's used from an operational perspective. Like we've got a lot of factories in that are using it for outages, whether it be a line outage or an IT outage. We've got it for production slowdowns. We've got it for power outages, staff shortages, trying to get additional people to cover the lines when someone's out sick. A lot of different things that we can do where notification becomes an important part of delivering that workflow. When we look at what makes us different, I'm going to do two slides, one from Informacast and one for visitor management. In Informacast, what we pride ourselves on is trying to be able to hit everybody, not in as many ways as possible, not just mobile, as you can see the mobile app here, but also on their desktop and on all the other types of devices that they have, right? We also strive to try to make this affordable. If you've got something and we can get it connected, why not use it until you have the funds to upgrade it to a latest and greatest technology? So, and then also, if you're having older buildings combined with new buildings, you want to be able to have that same messaging going across both in the same fashion, right? We also want to offer the greatest variety of operations to detect. So not just buttons, not just pushing a phone button, but also connect with all these different IoT devices. Like I mentioned earlier, think about video cameras and adding AI to video where you detect a weapon. Well, when I detect that weapon, I want to make sure I let people know. I may also want to integrate it so that I lock the doors, I lower the lights, I do whatever I can to keep people safe, right? So when I open it up as wide as possible to all the different ways that you can launch one of these scenarios. The other thing we want to do is intrusive audio. Audio has been known to be the best way to get people informed. So we want to make sure that it's intrusive, loud, intelligible, hitting everything as many ways as possible. We also want to take advantage of the devices like Algo's got that got a built-in flasher. You may have people that are hard of hearing. So if I blink that flasher, red, They can then also look at the sign and read the message. So the goal is to get this out as intrusively as possible, right? So it's not just a point solution. We can leverage it across all types of workflows and scenarios. Think again, anything that can have a triggering event and you need to get out a notification, we can support that. Visitor management. Our visitor management is also hardware independent, and we use facial recognition. Facial recognition will cut down the amount of false positives. It's not, like I said, it's not proprietary software. You can use off-the-shelf barcode scanners. You can use a Mac to do the kiosk for letting people in the door. We enable it across multi-sites. It's not a single solution for a single door. It's across all sites. So if you check in at door 1, you don't have to go through the whole hassles at doors 2 and 3. We also have the capability, if you want to check in the day before, you can have a QR code. So expediting the check-in, say during big rush hours or rush into a building. Think about a PTA meeting at a school, right? And so we also integrated this too, like I said earlier, about our integration with Informacast. So that's it's integrated into our system so that if there is a mass notification based on some type of issue upon visitor management, we have a quick capability to get the people there and get them safe. Now, earlier I mentioned about the integration with the various phone systems. Given that you guys sell a lot of different phone systems, this is just one example with Zoom. We connect to Zoom with a SIP connection, and whenever someone on a Zoom phone dials, say I'm extension 222, it goes from Zoom, it hits me. I then launch the notification that and hit all the different devices that are on-prem. There's a lot of different ways to hit devices on-prem. We have the capability to hit an IP speaker directly. We have the ability to hit analog speakers through a zone controller. We have the ability to hit PCs, apps like the Zoom phone running on a PC, hit IP speakers if they're running our drivers or with multicast. So there's a lot of different ways that we can do this to reach everybody and add additional paging capabilities into your UCAS deployment. Now, I said this was a hybrid. So all the smarts of Informacast really are in the cloud, but the one device we have is this yellow one here. It's called a Fusion Appliance, and it can either be deployed as a VMware instance or as a hardware appliance. And what it really is going to do is it's what is going to register all these on-prem devices. It's what's also going to be able to take a unicast message from the cloud and multicast it out onto the network itself. It also enables you to put multiple Fusion servers in to have resiliency and failover to the system. So it does play a lot of purposes. It also works when, let's say, the internet gets cut. These people on-prem can still launch scenarios that are local. You're not going to be able to change the scenarios, but the ones that are loaded, you're going to be able to do it. So you're still be able to page. You're still going to be able to send out some notifications locally until that internet is up, or unless you've got it backed up with, say, a 5G or something like that, etc. So it's pretty simple architect to do. And then this is just a picture of what that hardware appliance looks like. It's about a 2x2, a 4x4x2 device, kind of like an old Apple TV box, right? That sits there, and that's all you need. So with that, I was going to turn this over to Tom and do a quick demo, unless there's any questions.
Because what I get to do now, I quite honestly get to do the fun part of this presentation. I get to do the show and tell and bring the slides to life that Bryce just shared with you. So let me step you through what's in this demo room so it makes, that makes some sense to you, and it's not just a bunch of flashing lights. So first of all, I will start at the top left, work my way over to the right from the top. Bryce had mentioned, on the far left, we support the infamous quote blue light phones that you see in the higher ed space. Those are made by our partner Talkaphone. We've had a relationship with Talkaphone going back probably about 15 years. So if you have higher ed customers, keep in mind that we can support that, and we can support it in two ways. We can drive audio out to the speaker to this device, turn the strobe on. It also, and I'll show you in a minute, the button at the bottom of it can be pushed to trigger a notification. Also, to follow on what Bryce said, if you move your way over to the right, you see that video surveillance camera. That is, in this case, that video surveillance camera is made by one of our partners, Cisco Meraki. I'm going to show a couple of use cases about how that could be used in a combined solution. Let me work my way over now to the center, bunch of information or bunch of devices here. You see the video surveillance camera right below it. You see the fire pole. Again, as Bryce said, we have the ability to integrate into fire control, access door fire control systems, have had that a long time. We also have a traditional classroom IP speaker with a clock and a strobe. I'm going to trigger a couple of notifications. You'll hear the audio, see the text, see the strobe go off. Also, as Bryce had said, we support a wide variety of outdoor horns. And again, some of those can be industrial strength type of horns, or some of them can just be much more traditional, like an IP-based horn. All the way over at the top right, you see a traditional hallway clock. I'll send audio, text out to that device. Then kind of kitty corner down to the bottom left of that hallway clock is an Algo strobe light. I've worked with the Algo team for years. That strobe light is used. There are two major markets for it. First one are factory floors, where workers might be wearing ear protection. That device is a great way to catch people's attention, because of the way that you can set it in a pulsating, flashing scenario or type of methodology that catches people's attention. You could put some type of marquee underneath it that there's a tornado warning. I've actually got several customers, and again, I'm here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, several customers that had tornadoes touch down close to their facility. Everybody in the office space took safe shelter, but the poor folks out on the factory floor or shop floor, they didn't hear the overhead speaker because of the noise from the factory floor. So that's a very powerful tool for us. Next thing I want to do, let me go all the way back over to the bottom right. Now you're going to see the bottom of the Talkaphone, bottom of the Talkaphone unit here. Again, I mentioned you can press the red button to call for help. That can also trigger an Informacast scenario. Bryce mentioned panic buttons, and I'm going to be simulating the use cases of these folks as we go along in the demo. That device is a fairly large panic button. It's about 4 inches by 4 inches. Great spot for that. Cafeteria, factory floor, back door. That's a very, like I said, very easy to see for people to be able to quickly go and push that button to launch a scenario. Other thing, notice on the left, an AED defibrillator device. As Bryce had talked about, our ability to integrate into a wide variety of Internet of Things devices. You can actually create a template that if somebody opens up that defibrillator cabinet door, that would trigger a notification as well. Might even want it to, in that case, want that notification to turn on some video surveillance for you. Immediately to the right is one of my favorite devices that we see used a lot. That's a physical panic button, that little black rectangular box. That's about the size of a traditional doorbell. Great use case for that. Receptionist countertop, flush mounted underneath that, because again, it's the size of a traditional doorbell. Somebody's already inside the building, causing a ruckus, causing a hassle. It's very easily to reach under there discreetly, push that panic button, and call for help. Next thing I want to show you is, I'm going to zoom in. I see this a lot, specifically, you see the two-way radio. I see a lot of usage still for two-way radios in the healthcare space, some in K through 12, very predominant in the energy, specifically the oil and gas business. So two-way radios have not died off like people were predicting 5 or 6 years ago. We can deliver audio out to that device. And again, that can be a critical thing as far as from a timing perspective to let an SRO or safety security officer know that there's a situation going on. Next thing I want to show, Bryce showed on the slide, our ecosystem slide, we work with a wide variety of different digital signage, content media player vendors and companies. It's one of our table stakes capability, not only from the intrusive audio is critical, the ability to push out text on large monitors like that is also very powerful in a critical situation. Last thing I want to show you real quick. This demo room has a couple of Cisco phones in it on both sides. It's kind of hard to see. There's some glare there, but certain models of phones, Cisco phones, Poly phones, Yealink phones, we can pre-program speed dial buttons. So in keeping with our panic button strategy, certain models of phones can actually be used, those pre-programmed speed dial buttons, to trigger an alert for you as well. So let me go back here now to the full screen capability here. And what I want to do, like I said, I've got several scenarios that I'm going to step you through. First one I want to talk about is weather alerting, because as I said just a minute ago, I'm in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. If there's anyone on this call that lives in North Texas, or really anywhere in Texas, you're aware that we had a really bad spring as far as weather. We had a lot of tornadoes here in North Texas, a lot of flash flooding down in the Houston area. So customers that were using our software for severe weather alerting really got their money's worth. So key point here, I'm going to trigger a tornado warning here in just a second. But let's say one of your customers has 10 different sites scattered around Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. You have the ability within our software to fence that in where it's just, maybe we'll say the Fort Worth office, that's where that tornado warning situation is happening. So you could create that template where you could alert the Fort Worth office, alert maybe the key safety security people back in the headquarters facility in Oklahoma City, but you have the ability there to program that, set that up on a geographic basis. So I'm going to simulate this now. There's a tornado warning. What you're going to see happen, see and hear, you're going to see text pop up on here. You're going to hear audio. And the key thing is how fast this happens. So now we have a tornado warning. Here's the tornado warning alert. Okay, so that case, like I said, what we did, we triggered that notification. And again, I kind of, like I said, simulated that for like the Fort Worth office, so to speak. Next thing I want to share with y'all is I'm going to now clear the screen out here real quickly. And Bryce had mentioned the ability to integrate in with video surveillance cameras, also other types of sensors. A big integration point for us is access door systems, and has been for years. As I mentioned, I'm in Texas. The Uvalde tragedy of a couple of years ago, I still have school districts come to me and want to understand how Informacast might be able to keep their school safer. Sadly, what happened at Uvalde was somebody had propped open a back door because it was the day before school was out and they were taking, boxes out to their car. Well, in this case, if the school district had enabled door sensors that, let's say the timer on that was that if this door is open more than 60 seconds, we're going to trigger a notification back to the head-end unit of the door control system. Most of the door control systems, I'm going to simulate this one. Here's a Cisco Meraki, then can tell Informacast, here's the back door open, propped open, or back door ajar notification we want triggered. So again, at 61 seconds, this is what our software in working with that access door control system would automatically do.
I don't think the audio's coming out.
Let me see.
I think you got to share with audio.
Let me do that again real quick, Bryce. Thanks for letting me know that, buddy. Yep, include sound. I just use so many of these platforms, folks, on a daily basis. Please forgive me for that. So this case, let me re-trigger this real quick for you. So again, back door was propped open, 61 seconds. This is an automatic alert that would have been pushed out. You'll hear the audio this time.
The back door on the west wing of the building is ajar.
So again, we drove out, you see the text, you heard the audio. Key point here, remember, as Bryce said, we can deliver this notification to a wide variety of devices. This notification could have popped up on the principal and assistant principal's PCs. I've obviously dummied up a picture here, folks, because I don't have the luxury of having a school that I can use real time to do this demo. But again, that could be, instead of that JPEG image there, that could be a URL for the principal to click on to get the exact camera feed to show, oh, okay, somebody is there's a trash can propping open that back door. Now, SRO in this case, what could have happened here? This could have propped up on the SRO's phone. He sees the same thing, click on that URL, also could play the audio.
The back door on the west
as well. So this case, like I said, the back door has been propped open. And again, this is the linkage between Informacast and access door control system. Let me clear this out real quick. Next thing I want to share with you, and this kind of ages me. I like to tell this story because it kind of ages me a little bit. When I was in high school, there was no such thing as vaping. It was called Smoking in the Boys' Room, and there was a hit song that came out by, I think, Brownsville Station or somebody about smoking in the boys' room. I really didn't have any idea what an epidemic vaping is, specifically and sadly at the middle school level. It's bad in high schools, but middle school kids, it's a big issue. When I demonstrate and talk about some of the ways Informacast can be used in a school, safety, security, HR, somebody within that school district will say, do you tie into vape detection systems? Because we've got a big problem with that, and we've got money set aside, budget set aside to be able to put in a solution. Yes, we integrate in with 4 different people that make vape detection systems. So what I want to simulate for you in this case is that vaping has been detected by one of our vape detection partners in the girls' restroom on the 2nd floor of the school. So that vape detection sensor would automatically detect the vaping. That our partner system then would tell Informacast to trigger the vaping detected notification template. So what's going to happen, I'm going to simulate this. You'll hear the audio, see the text, and drive that notification out.
Alert. Vaping has been detected in the girls' restroom in the north wing of the 2nd floor.
Very similar, like the door propped open, folks. This could, again, principal, assistant principal here could have clicked on that URL link and have a live feed of the boys and girls restroom doors there on the 2nd floor. Probably watch to see who comes out of the restroom just as well. The SRO gets the same link. SRO can wander over there and wait for Sally, Mary, and Betty to come out and say, girls, I need to talk with you all about something. So again, this is that integration combination of 2 different types of sensors: vape detection sensors, access door control sensors, triggering an Informacast notification that delivered out that notification to multiple channels, as you saw in the virtual demo room and heard, as well as drove it to the PC, drove it also out to the mobile phone. Next thing I want to share with y'all is Bryce had talked about the panic buttons, and I also kind of shared with you on that as well. When I do one of these presentations, I tell customers, look, think of us from a panic button perspective. We're Baskin Robbins. We give you multiple different flavors of panic buttons with our different types of partners. And that's important because it's rare that one type of panic button, one type of technology will fit the bill for an entire school district. It's typically a combination of some wearable panic buttons, some physical panic buttons. Also the case maybe the mobile panic button. So first thing I want to simulate for you, and this is big specifically in Texas, and then also as other states, Florida and New Jersey have already adopted Alyssa's law. Some of the states are requiring wearable panic buttons. So there are two modes, if you think about it, with a wearable panic button. One is going to be in-room location. The other will be near-room location. And I'll step you through those two scenarios as I demonstrate these for you. As Bryce talked about, Contact IO is one of our wearable panic button partners. Folks, they started in the healthcare space. They started in the nurse call space. So I do a lot of these demos for healthcare organizations, hospitals. So what I'm going to show you, this scenario for an in-room notification is going to be like in the medical space. This case, a doctor is calling for help in the mental health ward. And it's this notification based upon the real-time location services of the wearable panic button and Contact IO. Contact IO is going to pass that information to Informacast. We're going to trigger this notification using text to speech in the exact room this doctor is in that's calling for help. So I'm going to simulate this now. This doctor called for help in the mental health.
Dr. Cameron Hewitt has called for help in the behavioral health ward, 2nd floor, West Wing, room 206. Please assist him.
So again, that was specific in-room location information, folks. And again, information could have been popped up, text and audio displayed on the PC. Same way here on the mobile phone.
Dr. Cameron Hewitt.
So slide this over. Next thing I want to share with y'all is I talked about this is in room. Now let's talk about near room. When would near room be used? Well, we'll say one of the counselors, it's passing period. Counselor's walking down the hall between passing periods, is over by the computer lab, sees 3 students fighting. And the counselor in this case can push a wearable panic button to call for help. This case, the system, the real-time location services would say, okay, the beacon that picked this up, this is right by the computer lab. So we're going to now push out that notification based on this is by the computer lab.
Alert, Mrs. Sanchez has called for help in the computer lab area on the 1st floor. Please help her immediately. And
again, this notification was triggered based upon that wearable panic button using the real-time location services. And again, I've dummied up a picture, but this could have also been with video surveillance, a real-time feed there. Also, you've seen, I popped this up on the mobile phone. No need to show you that again. You get the idea on same messages popped up on the mobile phone. Next thing. So we've talked about wearable panic buttons. We've talked about panic buttons on the phone. I'm going to simulate that now. So again, if you take a look at the phone over on the left, you look at the display at the top left, that's a pre-programmed speed dial button that can launch a lockdown. And it can, in this case, could drive that call, this data payload all the way out to the PSAP if the school has enabled that capability. So now here's one of the other options for panic buttons and Alyssa's law compliance.
Lockdown, locks, lights, out of sight. Lockdown, locks, lights, out of sight.
So again, same type of thought process, folks. Delivering the notification, audio out, that intrusive audio, as Bryce talked about. Critical text. You even noticed how we changed the background on the digital signage to red because this is a life safety situation. So that's the another option or one of the Alyssa's law options for panic buttons on phones. Next thing, Bryce and I both talked about the mobile panic button on the mobile phone. This scenario, I'll step you through. 3rd grade teachers are out on the playground. It's recess time. They see a car pull up. They see a guy get out of the car, open up the back door, and pull out a gun. Well, panic button option in that case, obviously the desk phone's not an option. PC's not an option. Physical panic button's not an option. Maybe the wearable panic button, but in this case, remember, we're Baskin Robbins. We give you multiple flavors and multiple choices. Probably the best case here is the mobile panic button. So the teacher opens up. Let me show you what that would look like. Teacher opens up, they're on the playground, opens up the Informacast app. There's the lockdown. Now what will happen here? What building do you want to lock down? I'm going to say site 3, scroll down here. From my mobile phone, again, I'm simulating this from the playground. Teacher can lock the building down.
This is an emergency lockdown alert. Initiate lockdown procedures immediately. The police have been notified and are en route. Wait for the all clear.
So again, we drove that notification out, triggered from the mobile phone. This case, what's really interesting is this is what was popped up on everybody's PC. The key point here, our software follows our customers' processes and procedures. We don't make them follow our processes and procedures. So I'm going to go full screen here. That's the directions they would want their teachers to follow in the event of a heaven forbid situation, a violent intruder situation. So that is part of any of these scenarios that you launch can have an incident management plan. Obviously, the first part of an incident management plan is, what do you want people to do? So this case pops up on their PC. They don't have to look for their badge, look for a piece of paper. They know what to do. This also, with our visitor aware software, would trigger rostering capability. So we'll say Mrs. Jones is a history teacher. It's 10 in the morning. And what would happen there is Informacast would do a fetch out of the student information database via our visitor aware product, pull that information onto Miss Smith's mobile phone, and she could check off all the students that are in her class at 10 o'clock. Are they accounted for or unaccounted for? So you see that there from a respond perspective. So again, that was driven out. Other thing you can do here, same thing on the mobile phone. Same critical directions are there. Same audio is played.
This is an emergency.
And you also then, from the mobile phone, again, have the ability, this could be a groundskeeper out working on, on the landscape at the school that has this situation. So if the person can check in there, if they're help, I'm going to say they need help. This case, peace of mind, we're going to push a message back to them that says, okay, you need help, sit tight, help is on the way. So I'm going to push this out. There's that message I talked about. And as this scenario is playing out and you're taking roll call, what's critical here is the command center element of Informacast is tracking and building a view of all of these different people that have checked in. It can do it via mapping. Also, it can do it dynamically on a drop-down menu. The key point there is this information is being gathered real time as people check in. There are typically two views of command center. One is in the Safety and Security Operations Center, typically up on a very high resolution HD monitor, especially for location tracking. That's great for the people back in the Operations Center. But what about the boots on the ground, the people that are actually there at that school that need to manage the situation from their mobile phone or tablet device? They have the ability to pull up and see the same real-time statistics as the people back in the Operations Center. And obviously, folks, they're probably going to prioritize and focus on who needs help. That was me because this is my mobile phone and triggered it. So when I talk to customers, I get to the point now and I say, okay, folks, hopefully this is one of those situations that all's well that ends well. The principal or SRO has the ability from their mobile phone to record the all clear message. And I'm going to do that right now, show you how easy that is. Alert, alert, alert. The situation has been resolved. All teachers and students may return back to the classroom and resume normal instructional activities. So I recorded that. Principal could have recorded that. Now he or she can push that audio back across the speakers and phones.
Alert, alert. The situation has been resolved. All teachers and students may return back to the classroom and resume normal instructional activities.
That audio could have been played on the PC. Audio also could be played on the mobile phone.
Alert, alert, alert.
So folks, when you engage me to do a demonstration for one of your customers, one of the biggest challenges I have is, you ask for a glass of water. I don't want to take you out to a fire hydrant. There is so much more that an Informacast will do, but I want to give this a higher level overview and stressing the points of all of the different channels or devices that can receive the notification, also show a wide variety of different devices that can trigger the notification, but then try to keep the demo in a 10 or 15 minute window so that people are like, you've overwhelmed me. I don't know where I would start with all this stuff. So hopefully this has painted a picture for you, or in essence, what I said, I brought the slides to life that Bryce showed you to show you the power and the capabilities of Informacast. So